Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com. Today I'm going to dive into some mixed media Bible journaling. Today I am still working in the devotional Hope is Here from Illustrated Faith, and I have pulled out this gorgeous butterfly stencil. We're going to work in 2 Corinthians and just kind of see what comes. I have some ideas of what I want to do, and we're just going to see how it comes up. So I will put you guys on fast forward. I will link everything that I end up using down below. Otherwise, let's go. This page definitely took a few twists and turns along the way. What I was going for is I wanted this butterfly. I love how the butterfly wings look like lights coming through them. And I loved the concept that when we are broken, that is when God can use us the most. And that's when he can shine through us the most. And because I was in 2 Corinthians here, I'm in 2 Corinthians 12:9. It says, "Therefore I will most gladly boast all the more about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may reside in me. So I take pleasure in weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and in difficulties for the sake of Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong." I am someone that has never really embraced weaknesses and don't like to admit when I do have weaknesses. And so I think this is an important verse for me in particular to just remember that those are opportunities for God to shine through. And when I look at it from that perspective, it definitely changes my perspective on weakness in general. So what I've done is I wanted this big butterfly to be flying out of the page, and I used some pixie spray, which helps keep the stencil in place, and then some Distress Oxide ink to blend around the edges. And now what you see me doing is using Neocolor crayons. These are water reactive crayons to trace in a little bit of color in all of these openings just to add that butterfly effect. And then I like the idea of the light kind of shining through, bursting forth. So we're just filling this in with some bright colors. You know me, in the rainbow colors. We're adding this all in. The good thing about this type of mixed media in your Bible journal is that it's fantastic because it's not really going to soak through the page very much. We're not going to have a lot of bleed through, and you're still going to be able to read all of the words, which is always a big plus. So I have a water brush right here. It has the water within the actual paintbrush. It just makes it really easy to paint pretty fast and to not make a big mess. So you just paint through the color, and then I have a paper towel there at the bottom that I'm kind of wiping off between colors. And I'm going to go through, and what you do is you just use a little bit of water to activate the color in each of these pieces of the butterfly. I'm basically activating the wax, kind of breaking up the wax, melting the wax, if you will, to spread that color around. Works very similarly to how watercolor works. But what's cool about the Neocolor 2 crayons is that they're very transportable. If you're traveling and you want to take some mixed media with you, Neocolor is a great way to go. Neocolor plus this water brush is a great way to go. So what I'm going to do here is just go through, activate all the colors, just doing a little bit of painting here and there. And I love how it looks. Now, here's what happens. The pixie spray, I did not use enough of it or press hard enough to get the stencil down. So I don't get very clean lines, not the clean lines that I was going for. I think what happened was I really liked the way the butterfly looked with the black. There's black paint on this particular stencil. I like the idea of the black going through, but I don't want black on the page because I do want to be able to read what is underneath. So once I activate this all and then pull back, like add in or pull back the stencil, it looks a little messy. Now, you guys know me. I'm not always scared of messy. But this one kind of threw me off. All right, let's add a little sparkle. This is some paste, some clear sparkle paste, because you know what? We're talking about shining through. We're talking about adding sparkle to the world. And so I thought, let's add sparkle to the page. We're putting it, again, with the stencil on, so there will only be sparkle where that butterfly is. I love how it looks. We need to let it dry. But once I peel off the stencil, it's just messy. And we talk about it all the time. There's always a way to keep going. When you are doing mixed media, when you're working in a journal like this and something goes wrong, there's always a solution per se. There's always a way to keep going. And I have learned over the many years that I've done Bible journaling that that's the most important thing. If you're not pleased with what something looks like, you can always change it. You can always keep going. I had a couple options. I could have gone back with a marker or a colored pencil and kind of defined those lines a little bit more. But what I decided to do was embrace the messiness. I have my water brush. I am going through and kind of extending the water out. I'm making it look even messier. And for me, that made a big difference because the messier it got, the more intentional it felt. I love messiness when it feels like you intended to be messy. I don't like messiness when it feels like it was supposed to be an orderly page and then it ended up messy. What I'm wanting to convey here is the beauty that can be seen when we allow our brokenness to shine. When we allow our brokenness to be seen by others, then they are able to see God shining through in those moments. And so even though it looks messy, even though it's a little bit chaotic, it's still really, really beautiful. And God can always make beauty out of that moment. So I'm going through making it messier and messier. And then I decide I wanted to add something extra. So I have this Beloved Society girl. She is going to be the my butterfly. She's the butterfly. I always love Beloved Society girls. You all know that. This one is from a past kit. I'm not totally sure which one, but I'm going to trim off all of the extra little white edge around her, or as much of it as I can get. We're going to put her to the side, and I wanted to add a little bit of something extra. Now, I have been doing my actual journaling, my actual reflection, my actual note taking in my faith planner, in my Kelva Plan faith planner this year. This month, I have a whole setup video on how I set it up for this devotional. And then I've been doing a lot of my note taking in there, which I've really enjoyed. It's kept me much more on track, which I really like. And it means I don't have to reserve as much room for notes and prayers and such in the actual Bible because I've already done that part. So I actually used printables from Illustrated Faith that have this gorgeous handwriting that's talking about our brokenness and talking about how God uses our brokenness. And I wanted it to be kind of an abstract background. So I printed it out. I'm going to trace it with the stencil so I can get that negative space behind where the butterfly is. We're going to cut this out and then fill it in that middle space. It just allows me to add a little bit of something extra. It's going to fill in, define that butterfly a little bit more. We'll do it at the top and at the bottom, almost like the butterfly is breaking through those particular words. No, you can't read all of the words that are written on this page, but it's giving you the hint of them, I guess I would say. And I have a card of this that came in the kit that I can punch and pop into my faith planner so I can reflect on these particular lessons within that faith planner. So I just traced it out using the stencil. I'm going to use, I'm just trying to erase here some of the pencil lines that were there. And then I'll use some Tombow adhesive to add to the back and adhere that in place to create a different kind of background for where my butterfly was. So yes, it is covering up a lot of the shading or all of the shading that's right there, but I like the change that it makes in the actual butterfly. I find that very interesting and intriguing looking, and I'm here for it. So doing that, I'm going to cut off any of the excess, and now we will just place our Beloved Society girl. But before I do that, I've been wanting to use this washi tape, and I have used it in a couple of other places, but in this case, I'm going to use it to just mat my Beloved Society girl. So we just need a piece of paper to put the washi tape down on. Then I will adhere the girl on top of the washi tape and trim the whole thing off. It just gives her a little bit more color, softens the edge of where she's going to be on the butterfly, and love how that turns out. Sorry for the extra sneezing in the background. Penny just decided to join me, my beagle that is nearly, let's see, she is 13 years old. She's almost 14 years old now. So she just decided to come down and join me in the studio. Let's get the Beloved Society girl down, and then I'm going to pull some alpha stickers to add the title. The title is really important when you're not doing a ton of journaling, and this case, I chose to add the title, He Shines Through, as a reminder that in my brokenness, God is able to shine through. As I do so often with titles, I'm building it backwards just because I know where I want it to line up, but spatial reasoning, not always my strong point. So these have a little bit of puff to them, a little bit of dimension, not a ton, but they will work pretty well. So I'm going to add those across the page, and then pretty much I'm going to be done. They were blending in a lot because the background is so busy. I did decide to take a pen and outline them in black. It's very subtle, but in person it helps them pop a little bit more, so you can read the title just a little bit easier. Then I'm going to mark off the verses that I read earlier to make sure I know that those are the verses I was focusing on this page, and then add the title and just a little quick journaling that says, Lord, thank you for using my brokenness in amazing ways. And then that is going to be it for this Bible journal process. Pretty fun, relatively simple as far as mixed media goes, but I really love the effect for sure. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I will link all of the supplies that I used down in the description box below, so you can be sure to check those out if you're interested. And I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you all so much for all of your support. It's just a fabulous group. If you want to join us, find out about the extra perks, and join this amazing crafty community that is forming over there, you can always find the link to Patreon down in the description box below as well. And you can start a 7-day free trial today. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.